Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to our Testimonial Thursday call this evening. It is a privilege and an honor to be here with you hosting this call. Thank you, all of you, for giving up your time and being here. This is amazing. I hope that you guys are going to be absolutely blown away by these testimonies. We've got some new ones, and I've asked all these people to share with us today, and I think it's going to absolutely blow your socks off. So we are going to start this evening's call with a brand partner called Chantal Price. And we would love to hear your testimony, Chantal. Sammy is going, if you can unmute yourself, Chantal. Welcome to our call, Chantal. Thank you very much for being here and being willing to share your story with us.
Thank you, Tanya, for the invite and for the opportunity to share 2 testimonies tonight. So that is quite exciting.
Fantastic. So
Awesome.
tell us what happened. If you can tell us a little bit about your journey and
Perfect.
yeah.
All right. So
right.
it has been quite a journey for those of you that don't know me, which will be most of you. I am a mom of triplets. They are now 4.5 years old. They were born extremely premature, 27 weeks. So it's been a journey with them from the get-go. A lot of challenges. 2 of them wouldn't have made it. So we were very blessed in that regard that both of them, or all 3 of them, were actually fine. 2 that were not meant to be here are still with us today. But then at 7 months, so I'm going to start with my daughter's testimony. Her name is Harper. She was rushed to hospital with seizures. So that started very suddenly and sporadically. Obviously, my mom was looking after them. I was at work, so rushing home to get her there. So that was during COVID. They were born in 2021. So not having to see my 2 sons for 3-month period of time, because that's how long it actually took us in hospital to get a diagnosis from many neurologists in Cape Town and genetic testing and all of those things. So that did put it down to her epilepsy being a very rare form of childhood epilepsy. It's called EMAS. So for those of you that don't know what that is, it's epilepsy with myoclonic and astatic syndrome. So it is something that is a genetic form of epilepsy. So she might get better one day, she might not get better, we don't know. So that being said, we tried a whole bunch of different medication. Obviously, it's not to find the right combination of medication that would relieve some of her seizures. I mean, we're talking 90 seizures easily a day. That's how many she had at first.
Wow.
Yeah, so eventually moved over to 2 medication. One, the kicker here was Lamictal. So that was the one that brought almost instant relief for her, with reducing her seizures by like 50, 60 a day. But still, obviously, 30 to 40 seizures a day, it's still a lot for a little child, or a baby in this instance. So we then met with dietitian Kath McGaw. She is the head of Ketogenic Society South Africa, in Italy at the moment on conference. And she basically said, okay, for a child of her age, there has been a lot of good research out there and great results for kids on a ketogenic diet, because with epilepsy, the body needs to now learn to burn fat for energy instead of carbs. So with the diet and introducing that with her medication that has brought relief, we almost saw an instant improvement, like hardly any seizures. And she was seizure-free for a very long time, although her kind of seizures happens at night when she sleeps. So she's still with us in the room, because it can still happen. So there is activity, but not clinical seizures. So obviously I met Giselle. It's been an incredible journey with her, and God just sends the right people across your path, and you never know why these things happen to children. But I do believe there's great testimonies that we can share with people out there. So with my journey with Giselle, getting to know her, obviously I got introduced to the patches. So we took the plunge, and on the 15th of February, we patched both Harper and Hudson. I will share his testimony a little bit later. And I think it was 3 months into her treatment with the patches, she was admitted to hospital. She had a very bad viral thing in her body and also bacterial in her stomach somewhere. There was something not right. So we thought while we were in hospital, it was a 2-week stay, we might as well repeat one of her EEGs, the long-term ones that they do for 24 hours. And those results were clear. So it's the first EEG in 3 years' time that came back clean. So obviously the doctors were amazed by it. We never told the doctor that we started the patches because you know how doctors can get, they get all like, oh, what are these foreign things that you're putting on a child that they don't really have enough research on or maybe knowledge on, you know? So not all of them
Yeah.
are open-minded. Not that I'm saying all of them aren't, but a lot of them aren't. So I asked him, okay, but how is this possible? It's the first EEG since her diagnosis that came back clean. We've always had activity, but it's never been a clear EEG. So he put it down to she's maybe just maturing, you know, but in the back of my mind, I just accepted his answer. But at the back of my mind, I was like, okay, but it's a genetic form and genes don't just correct itself, you know. And the only thing that we did differently was the patches, and we know that your body resets genes. So that, in my mind, is the thing that worked for her. So that is amazing. So we are still patching her because, you know, we don't know how long this thing's going to take for her to heal. And we are hoping that eventually she will be fully healed. And yes, she is on the ketogenic diet still with her medications. She is peg feed as well. So she's got a feeding tube in her tummy. So there are a lot of challenges, but we are hoping with time that we will see a lot of improvement and complete healing, that she would be able to come off all of her
Wow.
medication. Diet will probably still continue because it's a good thing to be on a ketogenic diet. But yeah,
Yeah.
so we were very hopeful in that regard.
Wow, that is incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm so
Pleasure.
happy for, yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah, I'm sure it's, as a mother, that must be an incredible thing to witness and experience. Um,
Absolutely.
and how many hours did you patch her? How long did you patch her? How do you
So,
patch her daily?
so Giselle did recommend 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And I only use new patches on her. And then for the second day, because the patches they do still work for a longer
Yeah.
period than that. So I use the day 2 patches on myself because I do have ADHD in a sense. Never was diagnosed as a child, but as you get older, you become more aware of these things.
Okay.
So at work, it does help me to focus and just removes that brain fog that I battle with. Yeah. So, yeah. And I do
Okay.
have PCOS. I
Fantastic.
had, well, I believe I am healed. PCOS. So cycles are regular, no more issues in that regard as well. So, and that was the only thing different
Wow.
is the patches, and it's day 2 patches that I'm using. So also getting the benefit
Wow.
of the patches in the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing your daughter's story.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, will you please share with us your son's testimony now?
Yes, so Hudson, the 2 boys, we started daycare the beginning of the year. So obviously we noticed a few things, you know, that we didn't really thought would be a problem. But at school, the teacher did notice that he's very clumsy, he falls easily, battles to concentrate, and he's very hyperactive, but we know that. We first-hand experience with the hyperactivity. But he did have battles with fine motor, cutting and writing and reading. So he wouldn't sit still long enough for those activities and would disrupt the class. So she did ask us initially, did we like have his eyes tested before? Yes. So with their prematurity, they did have retinopathy of prematurity. So that's a thing that prem babies can get. The boys outgrew it. Harper needed surgery or laser surgery, which corrected it. So no, not a problem. But Hudson did, and he still has amblyopia, where his right eye would pull in towards his nose. So a little bit of a squint is what we would call it, but the correct term is amblyopia. Yeah, so we have been seeing Dr. Jacoby in PE now to get what are we going to do? So we tried the patching, and eventually he would need glasses. And if that didn't work, he would need surgery to correct that. But now he's immigrated, so we went to Dr. Tienes Buerta at Bay Eye Hospital. So we went there for a consult in February. I think it was the first or second week of February. I can't really remember the exact time. He tested Hudson. Obviously, he did say there is amblyopia, but there's actually nothing wrong with his eye. So that was like an hour of testing, and he was quiet for quite a while. So we're wondering, what's going on? That quietness makes you worried. But then at the end of that consult, he did say that there's nothing wrong with his eye. So his eye retracts and the refraction, everything works perfectly fine to receive light. So it opens up nicely to get light, and it can move like it does move. But the actual problem is here that his optic nerve was either damaged due to prematurity or it never formed correctly due to prematurity. So this child was essentially blind in his right eye. So we didn't know that. It was shocking, which explains he would fall over his own feet and battle to read. So the connection was never in his brain there to receive an image, so he only had the ability to see through one eye, so he didn't have depth perception and anything like that. So we initially patched him with Harper the same day, 15th of Feb. We'll never forget that day, with the hopes that we would just see some improvement with his ADHD. Well, within 30 minutes, that child was as calm as could be of patching, so immediate relief with that. Didn't have much hope with anything else, but then in June we went for an MRI because the doctor didn't want us to test for anything that would be treatable. So if there was any other reason why this would have had happened, so just to rule out any tumors, maybe there's brain issues or whatever the case is. But we went in June for an MRI. The next day we received the report from the radiographer, and normal brain, no nerve damage. Both eyes, everything's fine. So from going to close his left eye because it was in his right eye, asking him, my boy, can you tell me what you see? No, mommy, I can't see anything. He was blind. He was literally blind. Now closing his left eye, he says, okay, I can see your nose. I can do that. He's doing so well at school, playing sport, improving with
Wow.
his writing and fine motor skills. And yes, he is in occupational therapy because we need to now get the neurolinks between left and right to connect and work properly. But he's healed. That does not lie. So
Wow.
yeah, we're seeing the doctor or the ophthalmologist next month for a consult because he said he wants to retest everything. He can't believe the results because he saw the damage. So I'm quite excited to
Wow.
share what we actually did and hoping he would
Wow.
introduce that in his practice, because a lot of people would benefit from this if they have the means to actually use the patches and are open-minded like we were.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is life changing. I mean,
absolutely.
this little boy, 4 years
Mm,
old, right? And
yes,
was completely blind in the right eye and now has the ability to see.
yes,
Guys,
absolutely.
wow. That
Yeah.
is just incredible to hear. I've got goosebumps. I'm even tearing up
Yeah.
um, at this stage, I must say, which I didn't say at the beginning of the call, guys, the LifeWave patches aren't here to treat, cure, diagnose, prevent any
Mm,
illness or ailment. People's choice to patch is their own choice. And we always say that to people, you patch by choice and let's just see what happens. So it is the body's ability to heal itself. The
yes.
patch is the pathway to make that happen. So, Chantal, you would agree with me, this has literally changed your family's
It
life.
has. It really has. It does. I mean, it's hard as it is to juggle life with three kids, but to have six kids, throw that in the mix, it opens up a whole different world for you, which is a reality for a lot of people. So we are very blessed
Yeah.
that, and we believe God blessed the patches to our kids. We prayed over it, and our faith does carry us through a lot of our challenges. And yes, we are super blessed and very grateful that we have experienced healing with the patches.
Wow, this is incredible. And yeah, I mean, thank you to Giselle
Mm.
for coming across your path, and I came across Giselle's path. So
Yeah.
somehow we were all linked, and this is
Yes.
just incredible. So thank you so much for sharing your testimonial
You are
about
so
your
welcome.
children. I'm sure this is going to be so inspiring for so many people. And, it just gives people hope that there is hope and
Mm.
things can change.
100%.
Thank you very much, Chantal. I appreciate your time and your
You
beautiful story. And keep patching, and we'll watch this space. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. All right, so there you guys have it. Wow, wasn't that just incredible? My goodness. Okay. So from one on to the next. So our next guest tonight is a gentleman called Mark, and we would love to hear your story, Mark. Welcome to our call tonight. And
Thank you.
please would you share with us what your experience has been on the patches?
Okay, where can I start? So about last year, June, um, I could see while I was driving, this left eye of mine was starting to get slightly blurry. And I couldn't understand, what was happening. I thought maybe it's age, that type of thing. As you get older, things start to pack up. And so I went to my optometrist and, went for an eye test. And he's like, yeah, you're going to need new spectacles and stuff like that. And in any case, got the new specs, but I still couldn't see like 100%. And about 5 weeks later, I woke up the one morning at about 1 o'clock with this extreme pain in my eye. It actually felt as if someone was stabbing me with a knife in the eye. And as soon as I actually woke up, the pain started. It wasn't the pain that woke me up. I like actually just woke up, and like 10 seconds later, I could feel my eye like starting to throb, and all of a sudden this intense pain just hit me. And I took a beanbag and went to the kitchen. I put it in the microwave. I put some heat on it and everything. I would stand in the kitchen for like an hour and a half in the morning, like say from 1 o'clock until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, just trying for that pain to go away. I went to my GP, and she looked at me and she said, "You got pink eyes." So I was like, okay, I've never had pink eyes before in my life. But anyways, okay, I've got pink eyes now. So she gave me drops, but my eye, I can't describe the pain. It actually felt like my eyeball was vibrating like that the whole time. I had to watch TV in the lounge with my sunglasses on. Um, it was just like that pain I can't describe to anyone. So she gave me cortisone drops and everything, and it took 4 days before it started to feel better. And I would say after a week and a half, it was fine. And then 3 days later, woke up again, same pain. The water was running out the eye like like a tap. I went back to the doctor. She looked at me like that. She said, "No, there's something else wrong with your eye. It's not pink eyes. You can't have pink eyes twice in like 3 weeks. It's impossible." So I went to the iron laser. I saw Dr. Van Niekerk. She was standing in for Dr. Barkley because he was on leave. So she put every drop in my eye that you can think of, checked my nerves and everything, checked for glaucoma. Everything was fine. So she said, no, she thinks I've got an eye herpes. So I was like, okay, well, what's an eye herpes? But any case, long story short, she said, no, I'll have to go on medication for a year, and, to try and because you have to be on medication for a year for that. But meanwhile, this eye was still, it was killing me. And 2 weeks later, went back again and I saw Dr. Barkley, and he said, no, it looks like I've got like two little blisters on my cornea. So I put like a contact lens on for 24 hours, and I've done everything. He's put the contact lens on. I went back 2 weeks later, same story, back again, the same pain. And then spoke to this other lady in Jeffreys Bay, and she said I must put castor oil around my eye at night when I go to bed. So I did that, and that worked for about a month and a half, and it was fine. And then all of a sudden, bang, back again. So I actually felt sometimes I think I'm going to go to the doctor and just say, listen, take out this eye. I've had enough. And yeah, so and then the one morning at BNI, I met Giselle, and I've been on this LifeWave group. I think the guy's name is Kulain or something, but I've never commented. I've never purchased anything. I just, I was just on this group, and I was just, checking everything what they were saying. And when Giselle came to visit our BNI chapter, and she spoke about it, like LifeWave X39, I was like, what? Yeah, no, I knew exactly what she was talking about. So afterwards, I went and I spoke to her and that, and I thought, you know what, let me just give it a go. And yeah, my eyes were also, it was extremely, extremely dry. I had to use like lubricating eye drops, because they said apparently this is what I've had, although they don't know what it was, say it's caused by dry eyes. So I was actually driving around with eye drops in my van, like constantly. I was probably putting drops in my eyes about between 9 and 12 times a day. And my eyes could not like tear up at all. I had to put the drops in. Sometimes when you feel tired and you yawn or whatever, your eyes would, make a little bit of water or whatever, but nothing. So I thought, you know what, I've basically tried everything. I probably had like 13 different eye drop bottles on my bedside table there, with the cortisone and the Maxitrol, you name it. I had everything there, but it was only temporary. It was like for 2-3 weeks you're fine, and then all of a sudden, bang. I mean, like I said, they checked the nerves, they checked everything, and they couldn't find anything wrong. And then they came with the blisters, and they put the contact lens to make the blister like pop or whatever. But also just a week or two, and then back to square one again. And then
So
I thought,
when did you start patching? What time was that? What time period?
It was, well, I've been patching now for about 4.5 months, about. So,
Okay.
yeah, and so up until about, I would say 5 weeks ago, my eyes have been starting to tear up by itself. I mean, the other morning, about 4 weeks ago, when I went to go visit Giselle's group, while she was talking to me, she asked me, "Okay, your eyes are wet." So I'm like, yeah, my eyes are actually starting to like lubricate itself. And I haven't had eye drops in my van now for easy about 2 months now. So I don't put drops in my eyes anymore. The pain is gone. Thank goodness for that. That pain was insane. I can't describe how sore that was. So yeah, I haven't had anything now. Look, obviously the first 3 weeks or so of patching, I could still feel the eye was sensitive. I even got cortisone drops again. Still after about 3 weeks of patching, but that was the last of it. So and yeah, I'm still patching one way. Not planning to stop anytime soon.
Fantastic. So you would say your patching journey was 4.5 months in total so far, is that correct?
Yeah. 4.5.
Okay. And it was about 5 weeks ago that you noticed this significant change. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Mark, and being brave enough to come on and share with others. I'm sure others are going to benefit from hearing your story as well, because that's what we do. We share, and people pick up from that. So, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you, Giselle, again. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you, Mark. All right. Now, our next guest I personally know is my dear friend, Ernest. And Ernest has been patching for quite some time. And yeah, we seem to be on the eye thing tonight, because Ernest's story also involves eyes. So, Ernest, why don't you tell us what occurred with you? And yeah, please share with us your experience on the patches, how long you were patching, and what was your condition?
Okay, well, about 4 or 5 years ago, we were a bit confused as to how far away. My eyesight deteriorated quite substantially. So the little opticianist said to me that he can't help me at all. So I must go to what they call an ophthalmologist. I'd never heard of it before. Went to see the guy, and what they do is they take a photograph of the inside of the eye. I don't know if you've ever seen those machines. It flashes, and then up on a screen goes what the eye looks like. And so what it showed is this. I'll just demonstrate it. It showed that. Left, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, we're all blurry.
Hold it close to your chest. Hold it close to your chest.
Oh.
Hold it to your chest.
Let me just talk about it then.
Not
Okay, don't
really,
worry.
yeah.
Okay.
Need a
So
cookie.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so what it does, this thing photographs it, and then it shows it up on a screen. So you can see your left eye has what he then said to me is macular degeneration. It's a lump in the macula of the eye, which is where everything's recorded in the eye. It's the most critical part of the eye. And there were these two lumps. Wow, I'm like, wow, didn't know what that was. So he said, listen, the only solution, because the problem with that is it deteriorates continually and you'll eventually be completely blind. So what the only solution he had for me, he said to me, what he'll do is I must come back every 4th month or so. He'll check to see the level of deterioration. And if he thinks it's necessary, he'll give me a very, very expensive drug with a needle straight in my eye, which I don't know if you can imagine what that's like. That's pretty traumatizing. And I mean, a couple of times I held my wife's hand with her rings there, and I just about broke her finger off. But anyway, so I did that again and again, and every 4 months I go back and I check it, and every sort of 8 months or so he'd say, no, you must have another injection. We did this until the beginning of last year. And then we said, you know what, we've had enough of that. It's a bit of an archaic way to try and solve a problem. And then we heard about patches. So we started to patch. And my wife is the expert. She just tells me what to do. You know, it's nice being a man because you don't have to think. You just get told. It's actually very handy.
Yeah, it's very handy.
Anyway,
I'm going to come on and tell you what I did.
Yeah, she'll give you what patches when and how. Anyway, so then we started to patch, you know, obviously continually. And every 4 months I'd go back and get a test. And he said to me, it's quite amazing. It's not getting worse. What are you doing? So I said, well, it's a funny little thing called a life wave patch. He said, oh, I don't know what that is. I said, anyway, I'll tell you about it, you know, one day. Don't worry. He said, okay. And then August last year, he said to me, Ernest, have a look at the picture. He said, your left eye has the same bump. Your right eye, the bump has disappeared completely. And I said to him, well, maybe we should recheck it because that doesn't seem like a normal thing. He said, no, the camera doesn't lie. He said, it's the first time in 50 years of practice or 40 years that I've ever seen that. But he says, come back in a few months, let's, you know, keep an eye. I went back 3 months later. He said, look now. He said, your left eye is flat. So there's no bump whatsoever, completely and utterly disappeared. And the eyesight, I can't say it's improved, but he said to me that the test he did, the right eye has improved marginally, left the same. So the vision's not improved. But I mean, the fact that I'm not going to go blind is like pretty dramatic. So that's absolutely. And obviously, I'm continuing to patch every day. But Gay will give you do you want to give your story?
Do you want to know what patches I used? Or you
yes, please, Gay.
39. Okay.
No, we'd love to know what you started with, because this journey started about 13 months ago. Am I right?
No,
You said,
no.
No,
Ernest?
February last year, eh?
February last year. So
Okay, February last
more
year.
18 months. There was no,
Okay,
there was very little effect for the first sort of 11 months. And then suddenly
okay.
the bleeding behind the eye, which is what causes the bump, stopped.
Mm.
And then the bump receded and disappeared. But what we did is we put on F39 to start with.
Yeah.
And then I found in the protocols, there's something that says macular degeneration. And you
Yeah.
put the energy patches, the white on the right and the
Yes.
brown on the left,
Yes.
just about 4 inches below the knee. So we did that just about every day. And then it was always 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Yeah.
And there's also another one, you put it on I think it's the right hand and the left foot,
Yes.
just above the toes. So those two we alternated with and kept those two going. Then I used to use Aeon as well. And I put Aeon on his right side and Carnosine on the left side. And then I
Fantastic.
did what you told me to do, which was to do that shock treatment, which
Yes.
was, I don't know, 20 hours on and 4 hours off. And we did that for 5 days before we went to see the ophthalmologist for the last time. And that's when he said the bleeding had completely stopped at the back of the eye and the eye was flat. So now that the bleeding stopped, I think the stem cells will now start to heal whatever damage was done during the time that the bump was on. So I expect the eyesight to start improving now. Now that it's not it was fighting the bleeding. Now the bleeding is stopped behind the eyes. So now it will start to improve the eyesight. It certainly will not get worse. But it should start to get better.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was the energy patches and the Carnosine and the Aeon plus X39.
X39. Wow, incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. That is amazing. And Ernest, can you please just share with us, I know you don't mind, your age, please, because we always say to people, the protocol is, the protocol is.
Can I tell you my
3
wife's age,
months. No, tell us your age, please.
I'm 81.
Wow, you see.
Yeah.
Now, and I've known.
But you know what problem I've got, if I'm honest, okay? We live on a 14-acre property. And by the time I catch you on Breathless, it's the only problem I've got.
Well, the protocol with patching is
what?
The protocol with patching is 3 months minimal, and then 1 month per decade of your life. And how many times did I encourage you guys to say, please don't stop, please just push through, don't stop.
You'll never stop.
And
not a chance.
Yeah, and great, you carried on, and now it's not deteriorating, and you've had this incredible result. So Ernest and Gay, thank you so much for being on the call. And I'm sure your story is going to absolutely give people hope, and that this is the truth, and this is what's so wonderful. So keep patching, and thank you so much for being on the call.
Also the copper bracelet, hey?
Okay.
Copper bracelet.
Okay. All right.
We wear a copper bracelet.
Okay, fantastic.
To get the copper. For the copper peptide.
To help with the copper peptide elevation. Okay, fantastic. Awesome, guys. Again, thank you for your time and being on the call.
Sure.
I really appreciate it.
Great.
Great.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, so now we've got, how wonderful are these testimonies, guys? Now we have a wonderful guy that I had the privilege of speaking with yesterday or the day before. Fred, welcome to our call. Thank you so much for joining us. Fred has an incredible story to share with us as well. And I'm handing it over to you, Fred. Please share with us what happened, why you started patching, how long you've been patching, and what occurred.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And Tanya, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to tell my story. I feel I'm still a spring chicken when I hear the ages of some people on the group there. I'm 70 and generally blessed with good health. Thank you. Bit of a sporting background. We trained hard and we played hard. From 1978 to 2000, I ran 12 Comrades Marathons. From 2000 to 2014, I played squash. From 2010 onwards, I've been mountain biking.
Fantastic.
Mountain biking consumed me with many hours of hard training and participating in many races, on average about 65 kilometer races. It became monotonous because every year you were racing against the same people in your age category. And I progressed to do more extreme events. I've done several 160 kilometer day events, a 361 kilometer non-stop event. And last year I had the privilege of doing my bucket list, which was being able to do the Race to Rhodes, which is a section, the first section of the Freedom Challenge, which is from Pietermaritzburg to Cape Town. This section to Rhodes is about 580 kilometers of approximately 11 kilometers climbing in total over 7 days, where you ride, you walk, you push, you carry your bicycle with your backpack, 10 kg backpack with a 10 kg bicycle on top of that. Most days were between 12 and 15 hours every day on the road. I've never done anything so difficult in my life, and it's taught me that the body can go places where you don't think you can go. And I must admit, it wasn't me myself that was going into those places. God was there with me. I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. But apart from that, I've never done anything so difficult. In mountain biking, I've had many accidents, broken ribs. I can't count how many broken ribs, broken collarbone twice. All these injuries have all healed naturally, probably within 6 to 7 weeks. None of these injuries were as debilitating as the current injury that I have, which is my knee. Damaged meniscus, torn meniscus, whatever. I don't know exactly what it is. I've had an orthopod look at it and he said, yeah, we can do this, we can do that. I've had cortisone injections, anti-inflammatories, painkillers, nothing's helped. My last ride was on the 24th of May this year, and since then it's just deteriorated more and more and more. So much so that I've had difficulty even walking up and down stairs. I've reverted to walking sideways up and down stairs because of the pain. On the 12th of July, I tried a ride. After 12 kilometers, I had to give up. It was just too painful. It was then that by chance I met up with a classmate of mine, Lorna Burma's husband, Roland, and he told me about LifeWave. I thought, yeah. Being a skeptic, I thought this hocus pocus stuff, I don't believe it. And he convinced me. Eventually, I said, right, I took the brave step and said, let's go, let's try. On the 16th of August, I started with Aeon and X39. I had 9 patches of Aeon and then a pack of 30 X39. The Aeon I put on my knee, and then the X39 behind my neck. And once the Aeon was done, I put the X39 on my knee. 29th of August, I thought, well, I haven't had much pain. Let me go out for a ride. I rode 38 kilometers at an average of 16 kilometers an hour, no discomfort. On the 30th of August, I thought, okay, let me try it. I rode 32 kilometers at 20 kilometers average. On the 31st, I rode the same 35 kilometers at 22 kilometers average, which for me was just so amazing that not having ridden since May, no training whatsoever, and I was back at my almost peak riding condition, no pain, no swelling, no discomfort. It was just amazing, and the energy levels were just amazing. I couldn't explain it. Yeah, I'm now currently back and riding 3 times a week, weather dependent, of course. Mornings sometimes are still a bit cool, and it feels like I'm back to my old self. I'm still being very cautious. It's early days. I've just finished my first pack of X39, and I've just received my second pack again now. So I will continue. And yeah, in closing, I asked myself, do I have a return on my investment? Definitely yes. And not in terms of a return on investment of my money, but in terms of the investment in my life.
Of course.
I'm grateful to Lifeway for extending my passion, being sport active and healthy. So all I can say, thank you guys. And I can just say to those other skeptics out there, it's not hocus pocus. Be brave. Give Lifeway a chance. And the other testimonies that I've heard now are, I mean, far superior than my meniscus injury. I mean, the eyes and the children. I was told by my daughter, who also lives in PE, about 2 cerebral palsy children that were wheelchair ridden, and apparently they're making such progress that they can now walk with assistance. But so early days.
Wow.
But guys, thank you, and keep going. Thanks, Tanya. All the best.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you so much for sharing, and we really appreciate your story and being brave to come on and share with us, because there are many people that are active, and I love that you say you were a skeptic and now you're a believer and that it worked for you. So keep cycling. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Keep well, guys. Bye.
Okay, so now we're going to end off, I think we're going to have our last person on, Brenda Horn. I don't know if it's Horner or Horn. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Brenda, will you please join us and tell us about your incredible story? If we can try and fit it into, say, 10 minutes or so max. I would say if you can make it slightly shorter, great. But otherwise, we have 10 minutes we can use. So welcome, Brenda. Thank you for joining us on the call tonight.
Thank you, and thank you so much for the invitation to share my story. Today, as I sit in front of you, I'm almost 71, and I'm so grateful to God, to LifeWave, Dr. Schmidt, and Liesel and Franz for this amazing journey. My life is better than what I was at 50. And only because I've been patching since November last year. When I retired at 55 or changed direction, I started having pneumonia, landed up in ICU regularly, and literally had no immunity. When COVID came, it knocked me very badly. For a year, hospitalized quite often, and left with long COVID, to which the doctors had no answer. Very weak, very tired, short of breath, and again in ICU. My son, a medical doctor, said to me, "Mom, you've got to stop working. Your lungs are 50% damaged. You're going to just have to get used to living with oxygen." And that was really very hard for me to accept. So I'm grateful for having met Liesel and France, introducing me to the patches late last year. I must say within the first month, I realized that I didn't need to sleep 4 hours in the afternoon anymore, and my dreams returned, which was an incredible wow for me. And then my digestive system started normalizing, had overactive digestive system, which meant my absorption of nutrition was very, very poorly. 2.5 months later, I went to see my doctor, and he couldn't believe it. He said to me, "Your blood pressure is 120/80. And we decided that I'm going to go off all my chronic medicine. Having lived with COPD and pulmonary hypertension, I was on extreme high doses of cortisone, so I could come off all of that. And then when that went well, I thought, well, why am I still on Prozac after 35 years? I'm going to wean myself off that. And since middle January, starting to wean off, I've not had an off day, I've not had a depressive day, and I got my emotions back again, which is just wonderful. So just in summary, I'm cutting a lot out, but just to tell you, from coming from a position where I was old and frail and short of breath and really lacking quality of life, I've had so much change in my body. My energy levels is above normal. My lung function, the pulmonologist said, is 20% better than my peers. And things like my sleep apnea improved. I don't need a CPAP machine anymore. My plantar fasciitis, the stiffness, the pain in the morning, it is all gone. And I can just recommend the patching journey to anybody. And even though I am now really more living more in greater vitality than ever before, I will continue patching. I'm doing X39 and 49, the performance bundle. It's definitely helping me with my water aerobics 3-4 times a week. And then the YH trio, I use that because I want to really enhance my body as it grows older. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for the miracles that's happened in my body. When I saw a doctor, she said, "What's COPD? There's no repair for that. It's only it can only go downwards." And for me to be off all cortisone and all medication now since January, and not having had as much as a flu or a cold, also tells me that my immunity has been restored. So that is my testimony in a quick nutshell.
Oh, Brenda, that is incredible. I was witness to your testimony in White River when you stood up on that stage and spoke, and I was so moved when I heard your story. So thank you so much for sharing. And I mean, I know because I saw firsthand the pictures of your skin and your neck and when you started and how it looks now is just incredible. And the fact that you came off your Prozac, I mean, You know, it's just incredible. Not that we are encouraging people to just go off their medications. Please, you speak to your healthcare professional doctors. But in your case, Brenda, being on something for 35 years and to experience that emotional is incredible. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing with us. I'm sure this is going to change many people's lives. So with that, we're actually going to take one more person. I think we are going to have Lizane on, if she is willing to share with us her testimonial. Please, Lizane, will you come onto the call, Sammy?
Hi, Tanya.
Are you
Sorry, I
there?
could only hop on so late. We usually have Bible study on a Thursday evening. And I'm actually
Welcome to the
glad.
call.
Thank you. I'm actually glad I missed the testimonials of the children because children are very close to my heart. But I'll try and make it very quick. My mom had an operation last year on her face. There was a growth in her cheek, basically, and they were not sure what it is. They were not sure if it was cancer. The test came back inconclusive, and the doctor said, this thing is growing. It's like there's something growing in your gland, so we can't leave it. We'll have to remove it because it's here by the base of your neck and where your ear and your brain and everything comes together, and it's a lot of nerves and facial nerves and things. So they opened up, they operated, they took out. It was a ball of cartilage, which they've never seen. So it was very strange. And they did say that, I was with her at the doctor. She had to sign a disclaimer that there could be nerve damage. And if they sever a nerve, that she will have complete, you can't repair that. Anyway, so she signed it. She had the operation. She woke up and the right side of her face was then completely paralyzed. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
So basically it was hanging. It looked very smooth. All the wrinkles were gone, but she basically struggled to speak. She couldn't eat properly. She couldn't blink her eye at all. Her eye was just open all the time. When she ate, she had a lot of pain. And she would bite herself constantly. If she drank liquids, it would just, come out of her mouth. So she had a very hard time with that. The doctor said they did not sever a nerve. It will take time to heal. They couldn't say when and how. She went to various specialists, a jaw specialist, and this specialist and that specialist. Every time it's costing her 2,500 to 3,000 rand for a consultation and x-rays and medication, and nothing was working. And then I've to see her, and we had a good chat, and I've read up about stem cell transplants and stem cell technology many years ago, but I wasn't aware of the patches. So I had some savings, and I decided to get my mom a month's worth of patches. Also very skeptical about it, but having read up about it in the past, I knew there was something going on there. So she patched, and in the first month, she could blink her eye, which was amazing because her eye was like stock stiff, like a glass eye. And my children wouldn't even, they didn't want to go and sleep over. They said grandma was watching them with her eye, So shame. And
my word.
It was so interesting what Brenda also said about your gemoed, you get depressed, I mean, mom couldn't didn't want to show her face in public. She didn't want to take pictures with the kids anymore. She was sitting, she would eat after us because she was, the liquids would come out, and she was having a lot of pain when she ate. I could only purchase 1 month of patches, but the significant improvement in her face and her demeanor and her, just showing her face again, because now she can blink and she can pray with her eyes closed, and and then a few months passed, 2 or 3 months passed, and then because friends and family saw the amazing difference, they put some money together and they bought her 2 months of patches, and she can eat now without pain, which is amazing. Even her nails are strong and not breaking anymore. And then what she also told me afterwards is that she had a previous surgery many years ago, and there was some scar tissue that was very, very painful on the touch. And for the first time in years, she doesn't have pain on it, on that scar tissue at all. So look, again, like Brenda said, I can go on and on about all the various things, but for me, she has gained weight again because now she can eat better. She doesn't have that pain anymore. She doesn't bite herself by accident. She can drink without having to, close her mouth. She can say the P again. She couldn't say P. Like pampoen was famfoen. Like it was bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's just in a nutshell. And so for me, it's so nice. My mom can take pictures of the kids again, and she goes into public and she's teaching music again, and she's got her self-confidence back and doesn't have that pain anymore. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for introducing the patches to me, Giselle.
Wow, this is just beautiful. Thank you. That is such a heartwarming story. And I mean, to restore your mother's dignity and her
Yes.
confidence, I mean, that is life-changing, and
Definitely.
that is what this technology can do. So did you only use the X39, hey? Just X39?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I would use
Absolutely.
her, if I may say, I used her patches the next
Yeah.
day. And
Fantastic.
I don't know if you can see, but
Yes, nails.
and it's I used to bite my nails very badly, and now I've got nails. I can go to the salon and have gel nails, and I feel very fancy.
Wow. Oh, that is incredible. Man, that is just so heartwarming. And I love this. Don't you guys just love this? This is why we do what we do, guys, is for these stories, these experiences, because you literally give somebody's life back. You help people to regain their confidence and and for all the naysayers and the skeptics and everything out there, guys, this is it. These patches really have the ability to change people's lives. So I thank you all for joining me tonight. Lizanne, thank you so much for your beautiful story. And for each and every person on this call tonight, I hope that you have loved it. I hope that you have enjoyed the call, that it has warmed your heart, that it has made you burning desire to share this technology with everybody around you, because everybody deserves to have the choice to decide to patch or not patch. And they can, for me, it's a burning desire, because I think, yes, not even one more person needs to have pain or suffering or discomfort, because we just need to get this word out. We need to tell people about this. So for me, that's what drives me, is to hear these stories. These are real people with real lives and real stories. And I'm just so grateful to every one of you for sharing and joining me tonight. This is recorded. Go and share it with everybody, guys. People need to hear about this. And we are literally making waves. So it's literally 2 minutes to 9. With that, I think we've ended on a really high note. I thank you all for joining again, and absolutely just love these Testimony Thursdays. And thank you to all the guests for sharing your beautiful stories. Your stories will change other people's lives. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to bid you good night. And God bless, take care, and we will see you on the next call, I'm sure, in the near future. And thank you so much, Sammy. Thank you for hosting with me. I really appreciate your help. And thank you for all the beautiful comments coming through on the chats. Just say yes, guys, and change someone's life. You have the ability to do that. Thank you, everybody. And definitely get back to the person who invited you.